says that his budget will raise taxes only on the wealthiest 2% of Americans. But if you take a closer look, hidden in that budget proposal is a very important tax. It is a $646 billion energy tax that is expected to hit not just the rich, but every single tax-paying American. And it could drive up your electric bill, your grocery bill, and the price at the pump by hundreds of dollars a month, they say. Joining me live is Jerry Taylor. He's an energy expert and a senior fellow at the Cato Institute. He joins me by phone. Jerry, good morning to you.
Good morning.
All right, so they call it a tax on carbon emissions, which, as I said, is about just under $650 billion. It's an energy tax, basically. Tell us what it does.
Well, to be precise, what it does, it requires power companies and other people in the energy business to get government permits to release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. The government's going to set the number of permits, put a threshold on them, and then the companies have to go out in the market and bid in an auction to get those permits. So it's effectively a tax. Yeah.
And when the energy companies have to do that, it costs them money, and then they pass those costs on to consumers. Is that how the average American winds up paying for this? Is that why critics are saying that's a tax on the average American?
Well, it is a tax, and candidate Obama last year in the San Francisco Chronicle said exactly that. He said that effectively my cap-and-trade program to reduce greenhouse gas emissions is a tax, and it's going to cause electricity bills to skyrocket. But that's just the way it has to be if we're going to control global warming and protect the global environment. So he's been, at least in the past, he's been fairly candid about what these policies are going to mean.
Yeah, he made very clear before he got elected that he was going to do this, and now indeed he has. But they haven't been exactly touting this particular line item in the budget, because instead they've been saying, don't worry, if you're not one of the so-called rich, you're not going to feel the financial pinch. In fact, you're going to get your taxes cut for 95% of Americans. But they say, Jerry, that amounts to a savings of about $13 a week for the average American. How much is this tax increase, thanks to the carbon tax, going to cost those Americans who are saving $13 a week?
Well, it's very difficult to say because it really depends on how expensive it turns out to be to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. If it turns out that it's difficult and costly, the tax is going to be large. If it turns out that it's not particularly costly, the tax would be small. The Energy Information Administration did a study of a plan very much like the Obama plan last year, and they found that annual household energy costs by 2020 could be anywhere from $30 a year higher to $325 a year higher. They found that gasoline prices in 2020 could be anywhere between 22 and 49 cents a gallon higher than they otherwise would have been without the program. So we know it'll cost something, but exactly how much depends on how much you think it costs to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and experts are not entirely clear about.
Well, let me ask you about these figures, because Dave Camp, the ranking Republican on the Committee on Ways and Means, released some information, and he cites MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, and the group you just cited, the Energy Information Agency. For these facts and figures, he says, number one, those agencies estimate that the cost of a gallon of gasoline could go up just for one gasoline. This is the gas tax, essentially, that people will be forced to pay, by $1.27. Is that overstating it?
Well, it depends, again, on what your assumptions are about the cost of reducing greenhouse gas emissions. If you think it's rather costly to do such a thing, then you're going to get higher prices, or higher effective taxes. If you think that the cost of reducing greenhouse gas emissions will be on the lower side, the numbers will be lower.
So it's possible, but we don't know.
It's possible. We don't know. We don't even know how much these programs are going to bring in. The Obama budget plan argues that we'll get about $600 billion or so a year. We don't know if that number is accurate, because it really depends on what the market looks like for carbon.
Yeah, but what's important to our viewers is, I mean, I know everything is fluid and we got to see what's going down, but people want to know what the worst case scenario is. I mean, they want to know because they want to prepare themselves. And so according to MIT, I mean, a respected institution, we could be looking at $1.27 extra for each gallon of gas. And they say the jump in electricity prices could be 68%. People can't even pay their electricity bills right now in many parts of this country.
Well, those things seem like plausible upper bound estimates. I haven't seen I'm not sure what MIT study the congressman is referring to. I'm not familiar with it. But, again, the range even from the Energy Information Administration, household energy costs going up by anywhere between $30 and $325 in 2020. That is a huge spread. That's not inconsequential. That reflects the uncertainty involved in these calculations.
Jerry Taylor, thanks so much for being here with your insights on it. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Well, folks, you might want to rethink your plans if they involve traveling anywhere around the East Coast today. Heavy snow